You'll know better than me in the contact center that having a short response time to email is really hard. And I mean, some of you will be very good at it, but the average contact center really will have problems with maintaining answering emails within even 1 day, 3 days, 7 days. And, I'm not joking. I mean, there's a lot of contact centers I come into contact with, especially bigger ones, older ones in companies that have millions of customers, where they actually try to define a 7-day answer SLA or response SLA, and they know they won't make it all the time. That's why they define 7 days. Sometimes they'll do it faster, sometimes not. Now you're probably doing better than that, but like still, it's long. I mean, leaving somebody wait many hours for an email answer is that's a long time nowadays when people are so accustomed to instant service. And when I'm thinking about emails here, I'm thinking about any text query, even putting text into a website query that you offer on your website, right, or on your app or whatever. So any kind of natural language text that you're allowing people to send to you. It's a hard problem, and the reason why it's hard is you have no control over when the emails arrive. So the volume peaks are complete, they can happen anytime. The complexity of the queries that are in the emails you have no control over, and they are natural language, human speech, not even human speech, human text with abbreviations, if you look at email data, you will quickly realize it is unbelievably messy, unbelievably messy. People will refer to the product they bought from you in their words and not yours, obviously, because why would they know all your jargon, even though it's on your website? It's super hard. So those three things make it very, very difficult to solve. And there are really two kinds of problems that you need to tackle if you're going to make it, if you're going to, have somehow acceptable answer times. The first one is understanding what the person wants, and the second is using data to reduce the time that it takes your agents to deal with the emails. Now, both of these are pretty difficult, and I think most ticketing systems, most CRMs, even the most advanced ones that have some form of keyword spotting or something for the emails, they almost all of them do not really allow you to build the kind of algorithm that you need to handle this, because it's different in every single company. The data that you get, in a utility company and your particular set of products you offer versus an e-commerce company, and their particular products, it's always totally, totally different. And even domain-specific models for each sector, they still need to be specialized for your case. And that's why simple keyword spotting or simple rule-based models that are in a lot of ticketing systems just often don't cut it. What you really need is the ability to do any kind of understanding model that you need to for your emails. And an understanding model means like an AI, or a computer-based model that can tell, hey, that particular collection of subject line terms, the terminology in the email, the kinds of dates that are mentioned or other data points, whatever, lead us to believe with 97% confidence that this email is about subject X, that it's a billing query, or it's a problem with a credit card, or it's my package was damaged when it arrived, or and there's a lot of cases, as you can imagine, right? And when you're interpreting human language, and so I think that's the first thing to really to make answer times faster is to be able to do that. Because if you can't do that, how can you sort the emails? How can you categorize them? How can you decide which agent skill set can answer them? Where should they go? And the second thing that happens if you can't do it is, or even if you only do it partially, imagine you reach 70% accuracy on keyword spotting. What happens with the other 30%? Then human agents with their super valuable time and very expensive time for you are going to have to read them, and a huge fraction of the time when they read the email, they're going to determine it's something they can't answer. So basically, you're going to use people's time, and cognitive switches and so on are going to bring in inefficiencies, and all they're going to be doing is determining that the email should not be handled by them, and then it has to go to another agent, and you've got a second person involved. It's hugely inefficient. And the second issue with trying to make answer times acceptable is that you often need to be able to dip into data to decide what to do. So let me take the simplest possible example. Somebody emails you, they happen to email you from an email address you haven't seen before, so you have no clue who they are, right? Because now all you have is some new email that came in. And if you can't identify the person beforehand, then how are you going to know if they called you earlier, emailed you yesterday? How are you going to know that they tried to cancel their account the day before? You have no idea. And the only way to solve that problem is to dip into data. So you do your natural language understanding part to determine what it's about. If there's something in the email that allows you to identify what product was purchased or something, then assuming you can do the integration integration with your inventory and build an algorithm that's going to say, okay, we think this person is actually the person who bought this product and they probably usually write to us from this other email, so this must be their account. Unless you can do that, right, you're going to have a huge number that you have to sort out, identify manually, which is incredibly time consuming. And then that's only one example of where you dip into data. Obviously, you might want to ask the person automatically when they give you an email, hey, we haven't received a message from this email before. It looks like you have a query about a billing problem. Unfortunately, we couldn't tell who you are. Like, did you email us from another email before? Maybe you could send me that email address. Then you get a response back with that email. Now you've got two emails going over and back, but the first, they're automatic. And in the response, they send you the other email address. You have them as just as an example. Now that means that you have to do the natural language understanding and the data dip and the algorithm to make the decision. And you need that level of flexibility. Otherwise, you're never going to get to an answer time that you or your customers find to be reasonable.